Good morning and welcome to TMS Book Club. My name is Sewela Langeni from Book Circle Capital. We're an independent bookshop that focuses on African literature, and today I'm so honored to have a conversation with Khethiwe Ngcobo about this book, Cross of Gold, written by Lauretta Ngcobo, who is a struggle stalwart in South Africa. This book was originally published in 1981 and it was banned, but then this book has been republished by Staging Post. Good morning and thank you for being here.
Good morning, good morning. Such a pleasure to talk about this important moment.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is the first time actually that the book is being published and released in South Africa.
Wow.
There was never, it was banned in South Africa when it was first released, and it was never republished. I mean, my mother spent years writing to different publishers, asking them to republish, and they said the time is gone. So we've spent the last year trying to republish.
What does it mean for your family to get this book republished?
It's about what she wanted.
Yeah.
As I say, she wanted to get it republished.
She had reached out.
She'd reached out and she didn't manage. She even wrote a new foreword. So this book has a new foreword compared to the original.
Yeah.
So it's really about saying, for instance, Shakespeare is still alive. He was in 16 what. And we don't keep our authors. We don't see the significance of who and what their contribution to a moment in history. So we think that it's really important to keep our writers alive. We're in the process of trying to republish a Miriam Tladi book. So we want to do this as a way of honoring people in the past, because all of their books are out of print. Like Miriam Tladi was one of the first writers, African writers, and my mother followed soon after. So these two women were really pushing the boundaries in the 1970s to get work published and to get South African stories by women told.
So your family spent a considerable amount of time outside South Africa in exile, only to return in '94. Give us a bit of an idea around the childhood you were raised around, because she was raising a family, she's writing books, and then she was teaching. Give us an idea of that.
Well, she grew up in KwaZulu-Natal. She went to Inanda Seminary and was given a scholarship. She was one of 36 women who went to Fort Hare at the time when she was there, and she was there the year after Sobukwe left. So there was a great movement of politicization. She got politicized, married my father, and got involved in politics. My father was imprisoned, and my mother was out of prison, but she was working as a courier. She was teaching children in schools. She had to then leave and go into exile. So my sisters were left with my grandmother, and she went into exile, and I was born in exile. And so, and from there on, we kind of moved about and ended up in England. And throughout this journey of hers, she always wrote. But the first writings were at home when she was young, still at school, and she didn't keep those. And then when she became political, she used to write things, but then she burnt them because she knew she was being followed. And when she finally got to England, it was the first time she could feel that she didn't have to destroy what she'd written. So she started to write Cross of Gold, and really at the beginning I think she felt it was much more, it was for herself. She always talks about she wrote for herself, she wasn't writing for other people. So she'd wake up at about 3 in the morning and write for 2 hours, and then get us all ready for school, get us gone, and then so she had these 2 lives that she had. Or she would go to a retreat after she'd written this book. She was given opportunities to go for a retreat. But this book was really about in herself when it started was about her own journey. And I think people think exile is this pretty thing. I think it was it's very distraught because she had no family, she had no one. So this story is really around what happened in Sharpeville, around what happened to the people then. So it was a reflection in a way of healing herself. Healing,
cathartic,
healing who she was.
And it's a beautiful, capturing of that moment. Heartbreaking, I mean, at times, actually most of it, but her writing is just keeps you going and you want to continue. As a filmmaker, you're working on a film about her.
Yes.
And you've been going around and collecting, and learning so much. What are some of the stuff that you're picking up in your research?
Well, I think it's a really important part of our lineage, and we don't talk about our lineage very much. So I come from a family who were storytellers. So when we go back 4 or 5 generations, there was my great-great-grandmother, and she was a poet, and she used to write these poems about herself and her children and her life. And it was heartbreaking because she was in a polygamous marriage, and she was the least loved in the marriage. So her stories and her poetry were very painful. So we learn about. I learned about that. My grandmother used to tell Inganagwane. My sister was very similar to my grandmother, and then my mother's a writer. And so this lineage of storytellers. And I think that we as South Africans have to begin to trace ourselves beyond the present moment. So we need to stretch back and see who we were, who our families were, how they came and became who they were. What I love about the story is I've been tracing my past through her past.
What would you like, our viewers to remember about the legacy of Lauretta Ngcobo?
Well, I think that, what I think is really important is that she was a feminist before feminism was
a hashtag.
A hashtag. She was always this writer and reader. People need to know that book reading is really affirming yourself and understanding who you are. The book is called Cross of Gold, and and it's about the devastation of a particular period, the blood that was let. And this book has this sense of blood, it has a sense of gold, which is why we were decimated as a country. The gold that runs through our thing. And that's why my mother called this book Cross of Gold, because it really is a cross we bear.
To bear,
Because it very few of us are rich from this gold in this country.
But we've suffered from it.
We've suffered for it. So this book just had those feelings. It doesn't say so in a simple way, but it says so in a rich way.
Absolutely.
And it talks about the people who have suffered under that. The black, the red, and the gold are the key colors of the book. And I think those are the key colors of the writing in the book.
Thank you so much, Khethiwe, to you and members of your family, to making sure that this book becomes available for younger generations to know what happened. And from me, Sewela Langeni, that's been the TMS Book Club. Copies of the book are available here at Book Circle Capital and good bookstores nationwide. Thank you for watching.